So the Farm Act, if you remember from where we left off last year, it actually passed the Senate. The conference report was adopted by the Senate, but not by the House. So there was some movement this week that actually allowed the conference committee to make some modifications to the conference report. We've not actually seen what those changes are going to be yet, but the likelihood is there will be some changes to the hemp language, or possibly even taking the hemp section completely out of the bill, based on some of the federal law change, the federal regulations on hemp, and also the impact on COVID-19 is having on the market. There may be some changes that just look at, well, let's reevaluate this towards the end of the year. There's also likely to be some changes related to the shooting sports provision and adding that to the definition of agritourism. You'll remember that was one of the controversial parts of the Farm Act last year. Maybe some other new language that we've not seen yet, but there's at least some movement now. So possibly next week we'll see the Farm Act out in public view, so where we can look at what some of those provisions, what's left in the Farm Act, and maybe even what some of the new provisions will be. Since hemp and the shooting sports were the most controversial parts, it will likely be well received at the General Assembly. Those were the things that were difficult for them to deal with. For farmers, especially when it comes to hemp, the newly adopted USDA regulations are more restrictive than most farmers would like to see. But there is an open comment period currently with USDA. So the hope is that maybe Congress will extend the pilot program so that we continue for another year what we've been doing in North Carolina, and give us some additional time to work with USDA to get those rules to a place that work for the farmers as well as the regulatory community. Yes, the sales tax changes that we talked about last week actually fully passed the General Assembly, or are on the way to the governor for likely his signature. If you remember, that has to do, the provision for farmers in there is to make it clear that when a farmer buys livestock through an auctioneer, that they don't have to pay sales tax on that livestock.